So just to kind of summarize what's happening, you're going to get two kinds of files. You're going to get a PDF file, which is going to have all of the descriptive material. So you'll get that as a title, the abstract. And we use the word abstract because it means a short summary. And that's what we are going to put in the program. So that's what everyone will see. And then the details, which only you will see. These are just for raters and just so you can really understand what's going to be presented in the in the presentation, but that won't be available to the public. We're going to send you a spreadsheet, which you're going to use for rating. And on there, you will again have the title. And there's an ID number, which is useful to keep attached to the title. It's good if they don't shift. If they do, I will try to put them back together for you when I get to your results. But setting, we've divided you by setting so that we've got a group that's rating K-12, a group that's rating college, a group that's rating adults, and we ask that group to also rate the general. And because general usually is when it's adult labor market and sometimes adults in college, so it's very much centered around adults usually. And then the research, which is its own separate category. And then the country, I'm going to ask you to use that in your rating. So you need that. And then, of course, whatever you put in as ratings. So I'm just going to flip to these things. So you've got the title, the abstract. Now, we have no control over the length of these things. We tell people over and over again, 100 words or less, and they put in whatever they feel like. So sometimes you have several pages to read, and I'm sorry for that. We're going to fix that before we finalize the program. The first version of the program, we'll just throw it all in there. But after that, I'm going to have somebody go through and shorten them. This sample seems to have really well-formed items. The abstracts are really abstracts. They're really short, which is wonderful. But I haven't times produced pages and pages where people just wouldn't stop writing, especially on the details. Some of them give you their whole paper if it's a research paper. So that's the sample. The main thing that we're going to talk about today is the rater sheet, and this is where you're going to put your results. I'm going to go back to my slideshow just for a second. There's one more slide, and that is the rating criteria. And let me just talk to you for a second about rating criteria. The rating criteria is a little weird. Now, what we're trying to accomplish is to spread out the ratings. We don't want everything bunched together, and it's human nature that they all come out the same. I know that sounds funny, but it's really true. Once I do the averaging between everybody's results, I'm going to end up with everything right in the same line. It's going to be really hard to separate them. And so as much separation as you can give me to say this one's really good and this one's not really good will be very helpful. Now, good is relative. I mean, there's so many different ways that something could be good. So that's what we're going for here. Research shows that a human being can separate things on about a 5-point scale. So that's what we're saying to start with, 1 to 5. And we're asking you, what is the value of this presentation? Now, of course, that's subjective. In fact, when I look at the ratings, I see that one person rates something a 5 and another person rates it a 1. Don't worry about that. It's okay. But if you read that information and you go, this is just a bunch of junk, I wouldn't want to attend that for anything. Give it a 1 or even give it a 0 if you think it's really not something we want. So go right ahead. Just rate it based on the value that it has to you, and would you go to that presentation? Secondly, does it convey important information that other people need to know? Now, I'm saying that in a qualified way because we have some people who are beginners in our group, and so they might need something which is very elementary. So then that would be content that is either new or clear. You might find that somebody is trying to explain the basics really well, and there's some people in our group that need that. So you might select it for that reason. But it should do something that is useful and the information should be important. Okay, so that's a 1 to 5. Now be careful because sometimes we say, oh, I'm number one, meaning I'm the best. And in this, one is the worst. Okay, 5 points is the best. So remember, always more points is better. And then we invite you to give extra credit. So that's only 1 to 5. See if you can divide them up. I mean, you can inflate some of them and make them even higher scores by giving them extra credit. Best in setting. Most of you are only going to have. Tini, go right ahead.
Last year in the instructions, you have indicated how many extra credits we can give. Is it the case for this year or
No,
it's
give
up
as
to
many
us?
extra credit points as you want. It's fine
Okay,
because what you're
thank you.
trying to do is separate the good ones from the bad ones. And, whatever you feel like you need to do with your set, um, you're going to have one setting unless you're the group that's doing adults in general, then you'll have two settings. So best one overall in your group is what we're saying there. And you can say, well, this one is just really best, and there's another one that's almost best. So give it 2 points and 1 point. You can do that. It's up to you. Give it whatever points you feel like you need to make it stand out as really the best. Uniqueness. Like I've never heard of that topic before. I never thought of that. Give that a point. And again, you could pick more than one because sometimes things are unique in different ways. Best in country. Okay, so this means sorting by country and picking the best. And then the most clear. Like I really know what this one's about. Some of them are not very clear. And if it's really well written, you might want to give it an extra point. Now, of course, if it's one of the ones that's going to be presented in Chinese and they're writing in English, we don't want to penalize them for not having great English. But, for the ones that are written in English, we hope that they're going to be clear. Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to do this now in a fake way. I'm not going to do anything for real. Notice that the setting here is mixed. So nobody's going to get this set. This is all just the first 10 that came in. So we're not doing anything for real. Now I look at the first one and I go, oh, migrant women. I think that's a really important topic. I'm going to give that a rating of 5. Okay, now somebody else may say, I don't work with migrant women. That's not relevant to me. If that's the case, maybe it's a 1 to you. It's really up to you. And I'm going to just randomly assign these things. I'm not going to pay any attention to what is really good or bad because I don't want to focus on content. I want to focus on the concept of rating. And the whole goal here is to get different ratings and not all the same. But it's hard sometimes. Sometimes you end up with a bunch of 4s because everything is kind of good. Not excellent, but good. That's fine. Okay, which one is the best in setting? Now, in this case, I have a bunch of different settings. I've got research, I've got general, I've got adult. Yeah, so I've got, and college. So I've got 4 different settings. So I would have to sort them, but you're not going to have to do that because you're only going to have one setting in a spreadsheet. Each spreadsheet you get is going to have one setting. So you can just look at them and say, which one's the best? Let's say that I thought, I'm going to go to my 5s because those are my best ones. Let's say I thought this one was just really superb. I'm going to give that an extra point just to really push it up so I can remember that that was the best. And then which one is the most unique? Well, I don't know. Maybe I think that creating marketing messages is really unique, and that's something that just I haven't heard before, and I think we need to hear it. So maybe I'll give that a point. But also, here's one on becoming a perfumer. That has got to be unique, whether you like it or not. It's unique. Okay, best in country. Um, what I'm going to do now, let's see if I can do this correctly. I'm going to try to highlight I'm having trouble because our faces, of course, are in the middle of this. I'm going to highlight all of the columns, and that's very important when you're sorting in Excel. You have to highlight everything. And I'm going to go up here to data and then click on sort. And I'm going to sort this one by country. Aha, it says it's going to sort by country anyway. Now this also is going to sort by ID, so under country it'll sort by ID. That's fancy. You don't have to do that. But anyway, okay, best in country. So now I have two from Australia. Let's just say this one's the best one from Australia, one from Canada, so I'll give that a point, one from China, one from Hong Kong, one from Japan, one from the Philippines. Okay, here's two from Singapore. Let's say I'll give this one a point, and one from the US, so that one gets a point. Now, I gave a point for every country. Now, why did I do that? We want to have every country represented. We don't want to have some country that just has all the best speakers, and so therefore they're the ones selected. We want everybody to be there and everyone to feel that their own um, structure, their own culture is represented at our conference. So give some extra credit for being the best within the country if you can. Okay, clarity. Let's say I think that this one is just incredibly clearly written. And I'm going to give another one to that. So I've given extra credit for two of them for clarity. Okay, just it's up to you, however many you want. Now notice that the total has been working for me. So I now know what the total ratings are. So I'm going to go over here and sort again. And this time when I sort, okay, I think it went under my pictures. Come on. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to sort this time by the, again, I'm going to move the pictures out of the way. There we go. I'm going to sort by total. And I want it to be from largest to smallest because I want the highest ones on top. All right, let's see what we've got now. I'll go back and center that. Okay, so now the final column, what I would like you to send me is from 10 to 1, okay? Not from 5 to 1, but from 10 to 1. So I'm going to simply assign the first one 10, and now I've only got 10. So, and I've got 10 numbers. So I can easily just give one rating to each one, a different rating to each one, and I will end up with what I would like to receive from you. Do you see what I did? If you have 20, you just give the same number twice to each one. I mean, you just say the first two highest are tens. That gets the spread in there, which is what I'm looking for, because otherwise they all come out clumped together and I really can't separate them. And why do I want to separate them? There are better times and worse times. Nobody wants the one just before lunch, right? Somebody's got to get it. So I'm going to give the hottest topics the best times if I can. Time zone also plays a role, but in general, it's quality. MBR?
I just have, can you please repeat the last one, the rating one? Uh, how did you give 10, 9, 8, 7?
Yeah, I want them to start at 10 for the highest and go to 1 for the bottom, for the lowest. Okay.
That will be done by you, right?
No, it's done by you.
Oh,
See, and when you're
okay.
doing that, I mean, you
Uh,
could look at this and go, wow, there's two sixes. I wonder which one's really the best. I mean, you could think about that. It's up to you. I
okay, it's
just,
up to me. So,
yeah, I just said, I'm going to give one a 10, one a 9, one an 8, whatever. But it's up to you. If you really think they're equal, then give them both 8s or both 9s, if you really believe that. It's really up to you. And whatever you get, all of this stuff that I started with, the value, the setting, and all that stuff, I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to take this column, period, and go forward. And I'm going to average. Carol.
Do you want to send us instructions on how to do this in Excel? Because I am not an Excel expert.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that's hard is the sorting, right? When you want
Yeah,
it.
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. It's 7 o'clock in the morning here, so
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
understand. That's the hard part. If you can sort, the key is that you have to highlight all of the columns.
that I
And
know, yeah.
okay, because otherwise
But going up to the sort thing,
then you go up to the
you made
word
it look so easy, but
data
it was.
and sort. Yeah, that is pretty easy. Data,
Let me just write that down.
yeah,
Data sort.
data, and then sort. Then, that's the key, is knowing that it's data and then sort.
Okay, that's not as hard as I thought. Thank you.
What other questions do you have? Okay, comments. Comments is there in case you find two presentations that are basically talking about the same thing. If you find that two presentations are really similar, it's possible, if we have more presentations than we have time slots, that we would ask two of them to present at the same time slot. And then I give them the choice. Either each one of them can have half of the session, so it's like one presentation and then the other, or they can join together as a team and present for the whole time period. It's their choice. But if you think two things are really similar, that's actually a good way to squeeze in, you know, more people so that more people have a chance to present. Or if you find something else you think that I should know about, because I'm the only one who's going to read your comments. No one else will see those comments. Those are just between you and me to communicate your thinking as you're going along and reading the proposals.
Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
Due date. When do you want them by?
I'm going to, the deadline is on
The
Saturday.
30th.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I get one day to get them back to you. So you're supposed to get them on December 1st. And then I need them back on the 13th. Now, if you're in Asia, send them anytime on the 13th is okay. But, I'm saying by 5 o'clock my time on the 13th. And then I will get them out and tell people what's happening and who's accepted, who's rejected. And let me just talk about rejected. The people who are rejected quite often are the ones you rate with a 0. A 0 meaning I just don't think this person's ready for presenting at our conference. And we've had some like that. And some people have gone back and said, oh yeah, you're right. I just threw that together. So it's okay to give a 0. A 0 means just not up to the quality we should have. It's really fine. Go ahead and do that if you feel like it. Any other questions? Yeah.
I think that's an outstanding point because we just have to really realize that we are a professional organization and we want to present ourselves in a certain way.
Yeah, if there's something out there that's just not really a good presentation, even if it has a wonderful title, you really don't want to guide people into that session because that's a waste of their time, right? I mean, if you can detect that something is not going to be good quality, that's what the clarity thing is for too. I mean, I suppose you could give some negative points if you needed to, but if you really think somebody is going to do a poor presentation, don't rate it high. Don't just give them
I
the
have a
mercy
question.
vote. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, MBR.
I have a question. Actually, this is my first time. Actually, I'm just a couple of curiosity. Uh, the title seems very good actually and catchy. So would that be a data of presentation according to the presenter? I mean, if I wanted to assess the presentation, because if the topic is catchy, uh, in my perspective, in my experience, in my learning, and my viewpoint, I'm giving the rating, right?
I
Uh,
personally would judge based on the details, not on the title.
exactly. This is my question. Actually, if I fortunately if I get the chance to see the presentation, then the quality of the topic can be understood in a better way. This is what I'm thinking. And could you please share
Yeah,
your thoughts?
if you're looking at details that are just kind of like, boy, that looks like they just threw in the kitchen sink. They just everything is in there. It's like No, that's not going to come out well.
Oh, so it means that being a rater, I would be assessing to the given topic of the title of the presentation, right? The proposal.
They've got 3 pieces of data. Use them. Go ahead and assess it
Ah,
based on everything. Okay.
based on everything, but I won't be able to see the what will be the inside of the top the proposal. I won't be able to see that, right?
Well,
Because that is
I'm
not showing
I'm
me.
giving you everything we have. We've got the title, we've
Oh,
the description and the details, and no one else will see the details except you. Those are just for the raters to see. Okay.
what wonderful! It means that we have a rating. I have already read the document, the Excel sheet and the Word document, and the rating assessment. It is completely fine with me. But the one missing part was I was missing the proposal, actual proposal submitted by the speaker.
Mhm.
So
Did you
you
see
will
that
definitely provide us.
document called sample?
Yes, sample. I
Sample.
have seen that. Yes,
Okay, I'm going to
yes,
go
I have
back
seen
to
that.
my, yeah, that's the information provided by the proposers. This comes to us as in an Excel spreadsheet in which the title is in one field, the abstract is another, and the details are another field. But I put them like this so you can read them in a Word document. But that's the real content. That's what you really need to
Okay,
read.
okay, that's fine. Actually, this would be the document from
Yeah.
where I can get the migrant women career proposal
Hmm.
details, right? So then
Yeah.
I may read them and assess them, right? Okay, that's fine. Now it's
Yeah.
fine. Uh, Thank you.
Any other questions? Those are good questions. So go ahead. Well, I am very grateful for everybody taking this time to learn how to do this. And I know some of you have done this before. And Sini, you pointed out that you've done it before. So thank you for coming again. But I really appreciate your doing this and good luck with it. If you do have any questions, let me know while you're working on it.